Welcome learners to the world of economics. Today, through the help of this PowerPoint, we are going to learn about what economics is. Even before we set on to the journey of economics, we need to understand what economics really deals with, and this understanding of economics helps us combat and master all the tools that the subject has to offer. In this lesson today, we will learn the meaning of economics, understand its branches, that is the micro and macroeconomics, and issues or economic aspects of economics such as positive and normative economics. Economics as a subject has assumed great importance in the field of social science in the present era. In our day-to-day life, we use many of economic concepts such as buying and selling of commodity, demand and supply of commodity in the market, rise or fall of prices, deposit of money in the bank, rate of interest on savings, etc. Similarly, we take some economic decisions related to distribution of our income to purchase various goods, withdraw money from bank, etc. We also observe and get information on the economic situation of our society, country and other countries. It is important for us to understand how economics as a subject and hence its definition has evolved over the years. Economics covers a vast area. It has emerged as a separate branch of study. Various economists have tried to give its meaning and objectives. It should be noted that with the development of time and civilization, the definition of economics has undergone modification and change. Let us focus the major ideas involving the meaning of economics. Many scholars and authors in the late 18th and early 19th century believed that economics is the science of wealth. These scholars are called the classical thinkers. They viewed that economics deals with the phenomena of wealth, which includes nature and causes of wealth, creation of wealth by individuals and nations, etc. The problem with wealth definition was that it did not talk about people who had no wealth. Having wealth and not having wealth divided the society into the rich and not rich or the poor. So many scholars in the early 19th century thought that economics should address the issue of welfare of the society and not just wealth. Accordingly, economics was seen as science of welfare. Welfare, as we know, is both quantitative and qualitative in nature. Consumption of goods and services, increase in per capita income, etc. are quantitative aspects of welfare. That is, they can be converted to numbers. Living in peace, enjoying leisure, acquiring knowledge, etc. are qualitative aspects of welfare. As science of welfare, economics was said to be concerned with the quantitative welfare only because it can be measured in terms of money. The welfare definition of economics explained only the material aspects of welfare, but people want both material goods and non-material services. Since resources available with every individual or society are scarce, people try to achieve their goals by alternative use of these resources, which they do by making appropriate choice. So economics then was treated as science of scarcity and choice. As science of scarcity and choice, economics studies human behavior as relationship between ends and means, which are scarce and also have alternate uses. Here ends imply wants, scarce means imply limited resources. According to the scarcity definition, limited resources can be used alternatively. Take the example of production of two goods, cloth and wheat. We cannot produce unlimited amount of cloth and wheat with limited amount of resources. These resources have to be divided to produce both these goods. Let demand for one of the goods, say wheat, increase. So it has to be produced in larger quantities for which we need more resources. But given that resources are limited, we can produce more wheat only by withdrawing some resources from the production of cloth and putting them in production of wheat. As a result, cloth production will fall and wheat production will increase. In this example, we have two alternatives. Firstly, keep producing the same amount of cloth and wheat, and second, produce more wheat as its demand has increased and decrease some amount of cloth. Since the economy wants more wheat, the study of economics tells us how this problem can be solved with limited resources by increasing one and reducing the production of the other. In the 20th century, the objective of achieving growth and development of the entire economy became faster. Role of the government in economic growth and development became increasingly important. So, economics no longer remained limited to individual decision making and use of resources only. Its scope has been expanded to include production and consumption of commodities over time so that the economy achieves growth and development. So, economics is treated as the science of growth and development. In fact, it is true that nowadays people talk about well-being of individuals and the whole nation. It is understood that for an individual to be able to satisfy his or her wants, it is necessary that the whole economy must grow and find proper mechanism to distribute the benefits of growth among the individual citizens. So, performance of the economy is very important in terms of use of its resources and production and distribution of goods and services. The economy must allocate its resources among various alternative activities, ensure the efficient use and find ways as to how they would grow for future development of the economy. On this basis, many economies in the world have performed well. For example, the USA, the European countries, Japan, etc. These are all called developed economies because they have achieved higher level of income for their citizens. Our Indian economy is a developing economy because many of its citizens are still poor. A study of economics tells us the state of our economy and guides us to achieve higher level of growth and development. Economists of late 20th century have also started talking about welfare of future generations and protection of natural environment. Hence, economics is also treated as science of sustainable development. To achieve higher level of growth and development, economies round the world have been exploiting natural resources and polluting the environment. Consumption of goods and services results in a lot of wastage. Note that some resources like minerals, mineral oil, forests are fast depleting because of their rising consumption by the present generation. So, future generation may be left with little or no resources. It is our moral duty to use the available resources that are scarce judiciously, efficiently, and ensure welfare of our future generations. Having made this clear now, let us move on to understand the branches of economics. The study of economics has been divided into two distinct branches. They are called microeconomics and macroeconomics. Let us first focus on microeconomics. The word micro means very small. So, microeconomics implies study of economics at a very small level. What does this exactly mean? In a society comprising of many collective individuals, every single individual makes just a small part. So, the economic decisions taken by a single individual become the subject matter of microeconomics. What are the economic decisions an individual takes? We can cite many examples in this regard. First, in order to satisfy various wants, an individual buys goods and services. To buy these goods and services, the individual has to pay some price from his limited amount of income. So, the individual has to make a decision with regard to quantity of the good to be purchased at the given price. He or she has to also decide the combination of different goods to buy given his or her income, so that the person can get maximum satisfaction as a buyer. The second economic decision at micro level is when an individual sells goods and services as a seller. Here, he or she has to take decision regarding the quantity of goods to be supplied at a given price, so that he or she can earn some profit. All of us pay price to buy a commodity. How does this price get determined in the market? This also is a question that microeconomics provides an answer to. The fourth decision that we can think of right now is the production of a commodity an individual producer has to undertake. In order to produce a commodity, the producer has to take decision as to how to combine the various factors of production so that maximum output can be produced at minimum cost. The term factors of production we shall deal with a little later. So, these are some of the important areas of study under microeconomics, wherein an individual buyer, an individual producer, the market pricing of a commodity all get determined. Now, let us understand macroeconomics. The word macro means very large. In comparison to an individual, the society or the country or economy as a whole, it is very large. So, the economic decisions taken at the level of the economy as a whole are the subject matter of macroeconomics. Take the government. We all know that the government represents the whole country, not just an individual. So, the decisions taken by the government are meant for the entire economy as a whole. For example, government makes policies with respect to collection of taxes. It also makes expenditure on public goods and welfare activities which affect the entire economy. How such policies work is the subject matter of macroeconomics. In microeconomics, we study the behavior of an individual as a buyer and seller. As a buyer, the individual spends money on goods and services, which is called his or her consumption expenditure. If we add the consumption expenditure of all individuals, then we get an idea of aggregate consumption expenditure of the whole society. Similarly, aggregating incomes of individuals becomes total income of the country or the national income. So, study of these aggregates such as national income, total consumption expenditure of the country, etc., comes under macroeconomics. Another example of macroeconomics can be the study of inflation or price rise. Inflation or a continuous price rise for a long time does not affect an individual alone. It also affects the whole economy. So, knowing its causes and effects as well as controlling it come under the study of macroeconomics. The same goes with the problem of unemployment. Economic growth and development, etc., they all are concerned with the whole population of the nation and hence are covered under the study of macroeconomics. I hope we have enough number of examples cited for you to be able to differentiate between micro and macroeconomics and also to appreciate that microeconomics is a part of macroeconomics and they both complement each other in the study of economics. Now, let us move on to the different aspects of economics. Economics problems or choices, as we understand, involve both positive and normative aspects in terms of understanding the events taking place. So, the next PPT will be on positive and normative economics. Positive economics is the study of the decisions, prescribing rules and regulations and implementing them in real life. Under positive economics, we study how an individual decision is or it was in the past or what it's going to be in the future. Normative economics studies what should be or what ought to be. When we study positive economics, we understand what is actually happening or what has happened or what is likely to happen. And when we study normative economics, we understand what action or what policy needs to be undertaken to correct the situation. It is, as I said, a matter dealing with what should be or what ought to be, or it is a judgment decision. Hence, positive and normative aspects of economics help us deal with economic issues in a manner that they complement each other. Let us consider the following statements to further clarify our understanding. The first statement is that India's population has crossed 100 crore mark. India is the second largest populated country in the world. The second statement is that India should not allow its population to grow so fast. It must control its population. Statement 1, which describes the population of India, is a phenomena which is happening. Hence, it is a positive statement. Statement 2 gives a value judgment on India's population. This is a normative statement. Let us consider another set of statements. The first, workers will work hard if they are given more wages. And next, that factories should increase the wage rate of workers to provide justice for hard work. The first statement is a positive statement. It tells about a certain fact that workers should work hard. The second statement is normative in nature because it tells about the right thing which, if takes place, will do good to society. Hence, economic decision making by individuals or government or business firms involves both positive and normative aspects of the issues. As given by statement 1 and 2, because India's population is growing fast and posing problems, the government is doing its best to control the population growth through effective family planning and other measures. The next two set of statements show that the government has implemented the minimum wage laws so that workers get justice. Having learnt about positive and normative statements, now let us move on to the next understanding of economics. It will be easy for us now to begin our journey into economics. We have understood how the definition of economics has evolved from being the definition of wealth to being the definition of welfare of society, and has moved on further to the definition of scarcity and choice, and then to the definition of growth and development, and at present there is a lot of focus on economics as a science of sustainable development. The two branches of economics we studied are micro and macroeconomics, both complementing each other, and the various types of issues that we studied are the positive and normative issues, which together go towards forming of various economic decisions. I hope you've understood what economics is all about, and it will help you facilitate your journey into the world of economics. Thank you.